Welcome to Podcast English Learning. Today I'm sharing an inspiring story about how creating a simple, mindful morning routine can change your life. There was a young man named Alex who felt like his days were slipping through his fingers. Every morning, he would wake up feeling rushed, barely making it out the door in time. He knew that this constant chaos was affecting his mood, his work, and his overall sense of well-being. Tired of feeling overwhelmed, Alex decided something needed to change. One evening, after scrolling through advice from successful people, Alex found a common theme. They all talked about the power of a consistent morning routine. He decided to give it a try, determined to take control of his mornings and, ultimately, his life. The first step? Alex set his alarm for an hour earlier than usual. At first, it was difficult. He felt groggy and tempted to hit snooze. But he pushed through, reminding himself of why he started this journey. With that extra hour, Alex made time to focus on himself. He started each day with a few minutes of quiet meditation, which helped him clear his mind and find a sense of peace before diving into the day. Next, Alex moved his body, whether it was stretching, a quick walk, or even just standing up and breathing deeply. This simple activity woke up his muscles and made him feel energized and ready to tackle whatever came his way. He also made time for a healthy breakfast and a few pages of reading or journaling. These small but intentional habits set a positive tone for the rest of the day. Gradually, he noticed something incredible happening. He felt more productive, more focused, and far less stressed. The best part, his mornings were no longer a blur of rushing and panic. Instead, they became a time of quiet empowerment, a moment each day where he could invest in his personal growth before the world demanded his attention. Alex's life transformed because he made a simple choice to start his mornings differently. And just like Alex, you too can take control of your day, one morning at a time. Let's dive deeper into the story of Alex and the transformative power of a morning routine. When we hear about life changes, we often think about grand, sweeping transformations, but in reality, the most profound changes often come from the smallest actions. Alex's journey is an example of how simple adjustments in daily habits can ripple out to create an entirely new way of living. The beginning of Alex's struggles. Alex was like many of us, caught up in the rush of modern life. He was a young professional working in a competitive industry, and the demands of his job consumed most of his time. Every day, he would wake up at the last possible moment, often feeling groggy and disoriented. His mornings were filled with a frantic rush. He'd shower quickly, skip breakfast, or grab something unhealthy, and then hurry out the door, barely making it to work on time. This routine, or lack of one, left Alex feeling drained before his day had even begun. It was like he was constantly chasing the clock. By the time he sat down at his desk, he already felt overwhelmed. His lack of preparation bled into his work, making it hard to focus and be productive. Even on weekends, the cycle continued. Instead of using his free time to recharge, he would sleep in late, spend hours scrolling through social media, and end up feeling just as exhausted on Monday morning as he had on Friday evening. It wasn't just his work that was suffering. His personal life was too. His relationships with friends and family felt strained because he was always too tired or distracted to fully engage. His hobbies, things he used to love, had fallen by the wayside. Alex wasn't living, he was merely surviving, day after day. A realization and decision to change. One evening, after a particularly stressful day, Alex found himself scrolling through social media again, looking for some distraction. But instead of funny memes or random videos, he stumbled across a quote that stopped him in his tracks. The way you start your morning sets the tone for the rest of your day. It was a simple idea, but it resonated deeply with Alex. He began to think about how his mornings started, with chaos, stress, and no direction. He realized that he was setting himself up for failure before his day had even truly begun. That night, Alex decided to take control of his life, starting with his mornings. He made a promise to himself that he would create a morning routine that not only prepared him for the day, but also nourished his mind, body, and spirit. Designing the morning routine. Alex knew that in order to create a routine that would stick, he needed to make small, manageable changes. He didn't want to overwhelm himself with a list of a dozen things to do as soon as he woke up. Instead, he focused on 3 core areas: mindfulness, movement, and nourishment. 1. Mindfulness, a moment of peace. The first thing Alex decided to incorporate into his mornings was mindfulness. He had read about the benefits of meditation, but had always dismissed it as something that wasn't for him. But after learning about how even a few minutes of mindfulness could reduce stress and increase focus, he decided to give it a try. At first, it felt awkward. Alex wasn't used to sitting in silence, alone with his thoughts. His mind would wander, and he found it hard to concentrate. But he stuck with it, reminding himself that this was part of the process. Over time, those 5 minutes of meditation became easier, and he began to notice subtle shifts in his mindset. He felt calmer, more centered, and more capable of handling the challenges of the day. This practice of mindfulness wasn't just about clearing his mind, it was about creating space between his thoughts and his reactions. Instead of waking up and immediately diving into the chaos of the day, Alex learned to start with a moment of stillness. This small act of self-care allowed him to enter the day with clarity and intention, rather than anxiety and stress. 2. Movement. Energizing the body. After his meditation, Alex would move his body. He wasn't a big gym person, and the thought of doing an intense workout first thing in the morning didn't appeal to him. Instead, he opted for something simple: stretching and light movement. He would spend 10 minutes stretching his muscles, focusing on areas that felt tight or stiff from sitting at a desk all day. Sometimes he'd add a short walk outside if the weather was nice, or he'd follow a gentle yoga routine on YouTube. These activities didn't require much time or energy, but they made a world of difference. The physical movement helped wake up his body and release any tension that had built up overnight. It also boosted his energy levels, making him feel more awake and alert. Alex found that this gentle exercise improved his mood and made him feel more confident throughout the day. 3. Nourishment, fueling the body and mind. Before, Alex would either skip breakfast or grab something unhealthy on his way to work, like a sugary pastry or fast food. These choices left him feeling sluggish and unfocused, with energy crashes before noon. He realized that if he wanted to feel good throughout the day, he needed to fuel his body properly. So, Alex began preparing a simple, nutritious breakfast each morning. Sometimes it was a smoothie packed with fruits, vegetables, and protein. Other times, it was oatmeal with nuts and berries, or eggs with whole grain toast. He focused on eating foods that would give him sustained energy and support his mental clarity. This shift in his eating habits didn't just improve his physical health, it also improved his mental and emotional well-being. When he sat down to eat his breakfast, he made a conscious effort to slow down and enjoy the meal, rather than rushing through it. This act of mindfulness extended into his relationship with food, and over time, Alex began to feel more connected to his body and more in tune with its needs. The impact of a consistent routine. As the weeks passed, Alex began to notice remarkable changes in his life. His mornings no longer felt like a chaotic scramble. They had become a time of quiet reflection and preparation. Because he started the day with intention, he found that the rest of his day flowed more smoothly. At work, he was more focused and productive. Tasks that once felt overwhelming now seemed manageable, and he was able to approach challenges with a calm, clear mind. His relationships also improved. He had more energy and patience for his loved ones, and because he wasn't constantly stressed and exhausted, he found it easier to be present with them. One of the most surprising changes for Alex was his newfound sense of confidence. Before, he had always felt like he was barely keeping up with the demands of life, but now, with a consistent morning routine in place, he felt in control. He was no longer reacting to life, he was proactively shaping it. This routine didn't just affect his mornings, it transformed his entire day. And the more Alex stuck with it, the more benefits he experienced. His physical health improved, his mental clarity sharpened, and his emotional well-being deepened. Overcoming challenges and staying consistent. Of course, the journey wasn't without its challenges. There were days when Alex didn't feel like waking up early or following his routine. Sometimes, life would throw unexpected obstacles his way, like a late-night work deadline or an early morning meeting that disrupted his schedule. But Alex had learned the value of consistency, even when things didn't go perfectly. On those difficult days, he reminded himself of why he started and focused on the small wins. Even if he only had time for a quick stretch or a few minutes of mindfulness, he made sure to do something. He realized that the power of a routine wasn't in being perfect. It was in showing up for himself, day after day, even when it wasn't easy. And as he continued to prioritize his mornings, the benefits compounded. The more he invested in his routine, the more he got out of it. His mornings became a source of strength and stability, a foundation that he could rely on no matter what the day ahead held. Expanding the routine and personal growth. As Alex's morning routine became more ingrained, he began to explore other ways to improve his life. The discipline and self-awareness he developed in the mornings carried over into other areas. He started setting more intentional goals, both personally and professionally. He explored new hobbies, like writing and photography, that he had always been interested in, but never had the energy to pursue. He also became more mindful of his evening routine, recognizing that how he ended his day was just as important as how he started it. He began winding down earlier, limiting screen time before bed, and reflecting on the day's events. This helped him sleep better, which in turn made it easier to stick to his morning routine. Through this process, Alex discovered that personal growth wasn't about making drastic changes all at once. It was about consistently making small, meaningful adjustments that aligned with his values and goals. Alex's message to you. Alex's story is a testament to the power of a morning routine. By making a few simple changes, he was able to transform not just his mornings, but his entire life. He found peace in the quiet moments, strength in movement, and clarity in mindfulness. And most importantly, he learned that the way we start our day truly does set the tone for everything that follows. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or like you're constantly chasing the clock, remember that change doesn't have to be complicated. Start small. Choose one thing you can do each morning to set yourself up for success. Whether it's a few minutes of meditation, a healthy breakfast, or a quick stretch. Over time, these small actions will add up, and you'll begin to see the ripple effects in every area of your life. Thank you for watching Podcast English Learning. If this story inspired you, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might benefit from it. Together, let's continue to learn, grow, and create the lives we truly want to live.